Iran may have just made the single
from
biggest
this.
miscalculation in its modern history. For decades, Tehran held what it believed was the ultimate trump card against the West.
Serious.
The ability to slam shut the world's most critical oil artery at will. The Strait of Hormuz, 21 miles of water, 1/5 of the planet's daily oil supply. Iran's nuclear option, which didn't require uranium. But on April 13th, something happened that Tehran never seriously believed was possible. Washington took the key, starting at 10 in the morning. Not just Iranian.
For decades, Iran used what I would call the trump card against the West and against the world at large. What is that trump card? You know, by shutting the Strait of Hormuz at will. That was what Iran was doing for decades against the West. All right. Now, Trump has used it against them. Not only did Trump use it against them, Trump shut the door, Trump locked the door, Trump held the key. Nobody in the world can cough. Do you understand? As I speak to you, it's affecting Iran. They are losing over $400 million on daily basis. The thing is biting hard on Iran. You see, when we are saying this thing that Iran is playing with fire, you know, all the terrorist sympathizers, all the, rumor mongers, they'll say, hey, shut up, Holy Ghost son, you are lying, you are this, Iran is willing, Benjamin Netanyahu, Iran have terminated him, he's gone, no, he's gone. What did they not say? Which insult did I not receive? They will say, Abraham Lincoln carrier, hey, Iran has blown it up. One of the greatest, one of the greatest carrier, in the world, that boy ocean. They said they blew it off. As many cars now become that weak, Holy Ghost could no longer talk again. If I thought, see, you are a liar. You are a liar. Who is that lying? This video you're about to watch, it will blow your mind. I need you to see the update. Today, I think is the 15th of April 2026. Hear the update. Who is crying? Now is crying. Where are all the terrorist sympathizers? Where are all those that were carrying rumors, all balance of rumors? Benjamin Netanyahu is gone. He's gone. They've terminated him. Abraham Lincoln is gone. Let me not talk too much. I want you to let's watch this interesting video of the current update, okay, of what is on ground. But before then, in case today is your first time of coming across my video, I want to say a big thank you to you for stopping by. This is Holy Ghost on platform, a platform that tells you undiluted truth. Let's watch together, and please let me know your take at the comment section. Thank you.
Iran may have just made the single biggest miscalculation in its modern history. For decades, Tehran held what it believed was the ultimate trump card against the West.
Serious.
The ability to slam shut the world's most critical oil artery at will. The Strait of Hormuz, 21 miles of water, 1/5 of the planet's daily oil supply. Iran's nuclear option, which didn't require uranium. But on April 13th, something happened that Tehran never seriously believed was possible. Washington took the key, starting at 10 in the morning. Not just Iranian vessels. Every single ship, every flag, every nation would now be stopped and inspected before passing through. The United States had not just responded to Iran's pressure, it had flipped the equation entirely. The strait Iran used as a weapon against the world was now a weapon pointed directly back at Iran. And right now, over 50,000 American troops across the Middle East are on hair-trigger alert. Major outlets, including Reuters and the Wall Street Journal, are reporting that the number could swell to nearly 100,000. The buildup is real, the hardware is moving, and the world is watching a crisis that could redraw the global map. Tonight, we take you inside it. Nothing about what happened on April 13th came out of nowhere. The match was struck 48 hours earlier, on April 11th. And the spark came from something as simple as a radio call. Two U.S. Navy destroyers, the USS Frank E. Peterson Jr. and the USS Michael Murphy, were conducting a routine freedom of navigation transit through the strait. Nothing unusual, nothing provocative, just two warships exercising a right recognized by international maritime law for generations. Cutting through the silence of the Arabian Gulf, an Iranian naval station broadcast a message that stopped everyone listening dead in their tracks. Three words, repeated 3 times. Final warning. The transmission ordered the American warship 121 to abandon its course and return to the Indian Ocean immediately. That radio call didn't just raise tensions. It announced to every military intelligence analyst monitoring that frequency that a threshold had been crossed, that Iran was no longer rattling a sword, it was drawing it. Washington's answer took exactly 48 hours to arrive, and when it didn't come through a diplomatic back channel. It came through the barrel of the most powerful naval force on Earth. Within hours of the blockade announcement, the Middle East became the most densely militarized theater on the planet. Within hours of the blockade announcement, the Middle East became the most densely militarized theater on the planet. C-17 Globemaster transport aircraft, the flying warehouses of the U.S. military, capable of swallowing tanks whole, began running continuous cargo and personnel sorties into regional bases around the clock. KC-135 aerial refueling tankers, essentially flying petrol stations for fighter jets, repositioned to extend the operational reach of American air power across the entire region. And at the center of it all, the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, now anchored in position, operating an impenetrable combat air patrol with stealth F-35s and multi-role FA-18 Hornets flying continuous sorties overhead. Let that picture sit for a moment. The world's most powerful carrier strike group. 50,000 troops on standby. The possibility of 100,000 more. Bomber aircraft pre-positioned in the United Kingdom, ready to fly to the region on a single order. This is not a show of force. This is the force. But here's the part that keeps American military commanders awake at night. Because Iran was never going to fight this war the way Washington fights wars. Iran cannot match the United States ship for ship. It knows this. Its commanders know this. And so Tehran's entire naval doctrine in the Strait is built around a completely different logic, one that exploits the very features that make Hormuz so geographically unique. Shallow water, narrow passage, congested shipping lanes, limited radar sightlines against low, fast targets. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy has assembled an estimated fleet of over 800 small, fast attack craft, Boghammer class, Zulfiqar class, Ashura class, stripped down, purpose-built, armed with heavy machine guns and rocket launchers welded directly onto their hulls. Some reach speeds of 50 knots. That is faster than most military patrol vessels can effectively respond to in confined waters. The strategy is called a swarm attack, and the cold mathematics behind it are genuinely unsettling. A billion-dollar destroyer carries a finite number of defensive missiles. Each intercept costs somewhere between $1 and $3 million. Each attacking speedboat costs a few $100,000 at most. If Iran floods the Strait with enough small, fast, simultaneous threats from enough different vectors, the math eventually stops working in Washington's favor. And the speedboats are only the beginning. Tehran has been openly discussing plans to simultaneously deploy more than 300 long-range strike drones, including variants of the type that gained horrifying notoriety during conflicts in Eastern Europe. Slow enough to evade some radar frequencies, launched in overwhelming numbers designed to exhaust air defense systems before the decisive strike comes through. And then, below the surface, Iran's most insidious weapon of all. Naval mines, quietly deployed from small boats into the shipping lanes of the Strait, some moored, some free drifting with the ocean currents. Their exact positions unknown and constantly shifting. In 21 miles of navigable water, you do not need a comprehensive minefield to paralyze shipping. You only need enough mines that no captain is certain the water ahead of his vessel has been cleared. Uncertainty alone is the weapon. This is the environment those colossal American destroyers are now operating in. 50-knot attack boats, drone swarms in the hundreds, an invisible minefield beneath the keel, and an Iranian coastline, jagged, mountainous, riddled with natural caves, packed with mobile anti-ship missile launchers that can be repositioned in hours and are almost impossible to track from satellite. The distance between American destroyers and Iranian attack craft is no longer measured in kilometers. It is measured in meters. Washington was not going to walk into this situation without answers. The first answer to Iran's speedboat swarm came in the form of an aircraft that looks like it was designed by someone who truly, deeply hated the concept of being subtle. The A-10 Thunderbolt, nicknamed the Warthog, an aircraft built around a single 30mm rotary cannon capable of firing hundreds of armor-piercing rounds per second. It flies low, it flies slowly, and in a confined waterway full of small, fast attack boats, it is arguably the most effective anti-swarm weapon the U.S. military possesses.
Oh, wow.
Reports indicate the number of A-10s deployed to regional bases has roughly doubled in recent weeks. Approximately 30 of these aircraft are now conducting low-altitude combat patrols directly over the strait. Iran's speedboat captains are looking up at aircraft that can tear their hulls apart before they even get within weapons range. But the speedboats, dangerous as they are not the scenario that dominates classified briefings in Washington. The deeper threat, the one that changes the entire calculation, is what Iran has been building inside its mountains for the past 2 decades. Carved into the Hormuz coastline are hundreds of hardened underground facilities, anti-ship missile batteries buried behind concrete and stone. These are not field deployable launchers sitting in the open. These are purpose-built fortresses, constructed to survive conventional airstrikes, housing missile systems with ranges long enough to engage vessels well outside the strait itself.